We are joined by Jerry Bowyer, CNBC Kudlow and Company contributor. We still have Quentin Hardy and Don Luskin. We still have Robert Shrum. We have Scott Rasmussen. We have John McLaughlin. Scott Rasmussen, Mike Pence is a bull on the Republicans in the House. That's a tough case to make, is it not?
It's a very tough case to make. The question for the Republicans this year is, will it be just a bad year or a very bad year or a very, very bad year?
All right, we're going to make a call. NBC is calling North Carolina for Barack Obama. That is not a shocking call, but the polls just closed there. They've already made the call. Projected winner. We don't even have any numbers in yet because the polls just closed. But there you have it. Barack Obama winning in North Carolina. Bob Shrum, just to come to you, they're not making the call for Indiana. Hillary has a lead, but they're waiting for the western counties near Chicago, Gary, Indiana. Does that mean anything? I mean, Hillary's got a 57-43 lead, but NBC won't make the call. What do you make of that, Bob?
Well, it started out 63-37, and it's gotten narrower. I think she's going to win Indiana. She's not going to win it by the margin she currently has. It's a little bit like what we saw in Missouri, where a lot of the networks rushed to call Missouri for Clinton, and as the results came in from the big cities, Obama, in fact, won the state. So I think what I think will happen tonight is that she'll win Indiana. She'll win it by a reasonable margin, probably single digits. I think he'll probably win North Carolina by double digits. And once again, I go back to this fundamental point. She had to break the mold in order to really get back into this race. She's a better candidate now. And she may get style points for that, but she's not going to get delegates, and she's not going to get popular votes if he has a sweeping victory in North Carolina. She's not going to narrow that gap, which is what she has to do.
You know, Jerry Bowyer, when Mr. Shrum, who is a very, very important Democratic strategist and thinker, now he's a historian writing all these books and teaching school here in New York City. Jerry, when he talks about Hillary getting to be a better candidate, I wonder if he's talking about her statement to obliterate Iran. What do you make of that, Jerry?
I'm not sure it played well with the Democratic base, but would do a little better in a general election. You know, just to say something about tonight's election, everyone's talking about whether Hillary or Obama is going to win the primary. I think it's said Obama's going to win the primary. The real fight is how divided they'll be when it's over. How bruised, how bloody will they be? We know who's going to win the primary. I think most of us are virtually positive that Obama is the candidate of the Democratic Party. But will it be a party, or will it be sort of a wreck of a party because it's divided along race and gender and class lines?
Quentin Hardy,
it's been a wreck of a party for generations, Jerry. It's been a wreck of a party, you know, writ up and torn up by all kinds of different interests for ages. And that's what makes it great. That's what makes it great.
Remember what
and Obama has been tested in a way he just simply wouldn't have been if he'd gone up against McCain with a cold sweep. In a way, he's a lot stronger.
But Scott, hang on.
Will Rogers once said, I'm not a member of any organized party, I'm a Democrat. So, there's some history to that, but this is worse than before.
But hang on, Scott Rasmussen, what are the implications here? Are there going to be McCain Democrats in droves, all right? Hillary in particular, as Bob Shrum has said, she's running a stronger campaign. I believe it's fair to say, on some issues at least, she's been moving right towards the center, distinguishing herself from Mr. Obama, who still kind of owns the left wing of the party right now. Will some, or many, or a third, I don't know, of Hillary's supporters go to McCain if Obama wins, as everyone is suggesting he will win?
Well, the obvious answer is yes, some of them will. The question is how many. Some of the polls right now show staggering numbers. Only 55% of Clinton voters in Kentucky, we just polled there last night, say they would vote for Obama in a general election. I don't expect it's going to be that significant. The ultimate determining factor will be, how do they close this out? If Hillary Clinton finishes the primary season and says, hey, I won the most popular votes, and we're going to fight for Michigan, and we're going to fight for Florida, it creates a circumstance where the Democrats are going to lose a lot of voters to John McCain. They're working-class white voters. They're very significant in places like Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, and that could change the electoral map in the fall.
Bob Shrum, you've been through some bruising battles in your day. Do you agree with what Scott Rasmussen said? Do you think that some of these rifts will heal, but a lot of these rifts will not?
Well, I think in the end, most of these Democrats will come home. But I agree with him that if this gets protracted over a long period of time, if the Clinton campaign tries to move the goalposts and comes up with some kind of fuzzy math that says she won the popular vote when she didn't, and that's the metric that ought to count, and carries this all the way to the convention, then I think we would have a severe problem. But what's going to happen, I think, is superdelegates including the one who wouldn't give you his answer a few minutes ago.
I tried. I did my best. Well, I tried to lull him into it. I created poorly baited traps.
Larry, they're going to move by June 3rd and into June. These folks who are members of Congress and Democratic activists have an interest in getting this over with, and that's why I think it was so fundamental for her tonight to try to upset the expectations. If she had upset the expectations, I think she'd have a far stronger argument.
Don Luskin, what, in your view, as an investor, and you've had some great calls, I mean, what happens if it's 3 Democratic houses? Let's go with that scenario. Obama in the White House, Democratic Senate, Democratic House of Representatives. What happens there? What's the investment call?
I think it's going to depend very much on what happens in the Senate, Larry. It depends on how bad the Democratic majority is. If there is a filibuster-proof Democratic majority in the Senate, then sell everything and move to Canada because you'll have better capitalism in Canada.
Don't you think, though, I want to make a point. Some people say we can do business, we, meaning the financial markets, more with Hillary than Obama. In other words, Hillary might try some crazy stuff in the first year, but the markets will rebel, and she'll change her tune the way her husband, whereas Obama is more stubborn. I want to get your views on that real quick. Don Luskin, you first.
I think you're drawing very fine distinctions between degrees of evil. I think they're both incredibly dangerous, volatile characters who think that they know better and that the people know nothing, that they should control the economy. I don't care. Flip a coin. There's no difference.
Quentin Hardy, with all the high-tax, anti-business rhetoric coming from Obama, can markets discipline them into a pro-growth strategy?
Well, yes, and they show up with so much they have to deal with in terms of what a Republican Congress and a Republican Senate and a Republican President left them as a legacy. Enormous deficits, troublesome foreign commitments, all sorts of things they have to deal with that limit how much wiggle room they have.
But it looks like 6 years away. We're in the 7th year of prosperity. The famous recession's not happening, Quentin. You don't give Bush any credit at all. You never give him any credit.
About 1% a year, Larry. Yeah, about 1% since Bush took over. I wouldn't call that a really stellar performance, would you?
Jerry,
had a monster deficit. We have run up huge debts for this so-called prosperity, which never have hit the common man.
Jerry
Never
Bowyer,
was seen on a kitchen table.
What's your response to Quentin here on the way out?
My response is
gas at $4 a gallon.
Who cares?
Wages stagnant.
Wait. Gas at $4 a gallon is the Democrats' no-drill policy. Now, maybe Bush could have fought that more. The weak dollar is Bernanke.
Let him finish.
Deficits are a distraction from reality. You don't buy deficits. You don't sell deficits. We've had good growth.
What about the 3?
That's not Bush's fault.
What about the 3? All right, hang on, Quentin. Jerry, what about the 3 Democratic houses scenario? That's tricky.
Emerging markets, buy euro, move to Canada, move to Estonia.
All right, Estonia.
Real estate in Estonia.
All right, we are going to continue our discussions. We will get more numbers. NBC has already called